Changing the conversation. Negative self-talk. What it is, where it comes from, and how to combat it. Presented by Elizabeth Furbish. Positive self-talk is an important form of self-care, but unfortunately, negative self-talk is way too familiar to most of us, and it is not a healthy practice. So today, I'm going to talk just a bit about what negative self-talk is and where it comes from, as well as offer a few resources for how to combat it when it starts to bubble up for you. To begin, I wanted to highlight a few basic examples of negative self-talk, just to help frame the rest of the conversation. What's the use? Everyone is smarter than me. I'm so lazy. I'll never get it. My opinion doesn't matter. It's time to stop saying these types of things to yourself. In order to stop a behavior, it is important to learn more about what it is and why it happens in the first place. So what is negative self-talk? Negative self-talk is any inner dialogue limiting belief in oneself. Negative self-talk is thought to have grown from our innate negativity bias, which is the idea that negative thoughts and feelings have a larger effect on our psychological states and processes than positive ones. Negativity bias is believed to be a result of evolution. Psychologists think that negativity bias evolved to protect us from danger and to keep us safe. Those with a stronger bias, aka more negative thoughts, were more likely to stay alive because they were more attuned to danger around them. Negative self-talk is not self-analysis or self-reflection. It can be very productive to take regular inventory of your actions and your words. But self-analysis and self-reflection connote a more positive and constructive way of thinking about yourself. Negative self-talk is much more insidious, with the capability to overwhelm your mind with negative feelings that can lead to a very low sense of self-worth and depression. Negative self-talk comes in many forms that are also called cognitive distortions. Here are just a couple of the big guys. 1. Filtering. This is when you magnify only the negative aspects of things that are told to you. 2. Personalizing. This is when you blame yourself whenever anything bad happens. 3. Catastrophizing. This is when you anticipate the worst all the time. 4. Polarizing. This is when you see good and bad as black and white with no room for shades of gray. Part of the problem with negative self-talk is that it can go from fleeting thoughts to something that sticks around like a visitor who has worn out their welcome. Why? Because we have developed ways of justifying our participation in it. See if any of the following sound familiar to you. 1. I'm just being honest with myself. I'm telling myself what everyone already knows. 2. It will stop my ego from growing. If I talk negatively about myself, it will keep me from becoming arrogant and also keep people from perceiving me as arrogant. 3. If I end up failing, I won't feel so badly. If I already have a negative attitude when I am approaching something, it will cushion the blow if I do fail. 4. It's an accurate reflection of who I am. You believe that a failure is not about the action itself, but about you as a person. 5. I deserve it. Anything that happens as a result of your mistakes is something that you deserve and have asked for. The cycle of negative self-talk seems simple, but it's important to highlight because it shows how your thoughts are connected to everything else that you do. Let's try it. If your thoughts while putting together a presentation about self-care and wellness are, I'm stupid and I'm unqualified to do this, then those thoughts could lead to emotions of sadness and inadequacy. And then those emotions could lead to behaviors of you sitting sadly under a blanket binge watching TV instead of tackling the project, and the outcome of that behavior will be that you won't be able to complete the presentation on time, if at all. And then when that happens, you will be back to negative self-talk in your thoughts. In other words, your thoughts become your results. Negative thoughts often become negative results, and positive thoughts often become positive results. There are other very real consequences to this type of sustained negativity, including the following. 1. Perfectionism. This is where you constantly think that perfect is the only way to complete something, which is setting yourself up for failure from the beginning. 2. Limited thinking. The more you tell yourself you can't do something, the more you believe it, which ultimately leads to a limited set of thoughts and an inability to move forward. 3. Increased stress. And 4. Depression. Changing the conversation, tips and resources. Now that we've learned about why the bad exists, let's move on to the good. How can we start to retrain our inner voices to be more helpful to us and more positive? Is it even possible? Good news! It is possible! Psychiatrist Aaron Beck believes that we have a disposition towards certain negative responses, which in today's world are no longer helpful. His theory of cognitive therapy is based on uncovering one's core beliefs and automatic thoughts and working to shift those thoughts in a more positive and productive direction. Alas, I am only a therapy student and not a cognitive expert yet. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes going over some basic resources that I've either found helpful myself or learned about in the course of developing this presentation. What comes next is meant to be a fun and accessible list of things that can help you to start reprogramming your inner voice. Things to do. 1. Call it out. Call out and confront the negative words. If you can recognize them, potentially you can stop them from burrowing into your brain and repeating on an endless loop. 2. Take one or a few deep breaths. Breath is a powerful force in our lives, and it can be helpful in this instance. When a negative thought or word enters your mind, take a deep, slow breath in with that thought, hold it at the top of your mind, and then, as you breathe out, imagine that you are releasing it away from your body. Replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. When you think something negative about yourself, replace it with something more positive. It also can help to try repeating that phrase or writing that phrase over and over again so it becomes more ingrained than the negative thought. One of my simple favorites is, you can do hard things. 4. Get moving. There has been much research done on how movement and exercise can help your mental state. So if you start feeling flooded with negativity, stand up and move around for a bit. You could go to a formal workout, but you could also just walk around your house or yard, or even do 10 or more or less sit-ups or push-ups. Just get those endorphins going. 5. Make a positive playlist. You know that idea of music setting the mood? Make a playlist of your favorite song or songs that you can switch on if you are feeling particularly stuck in a shame spiral. 6. Talk to a professional. If you are feeling as though your negative self-talk is something you can't crawl out of on your own, know that there is help out there. Still having trouble? Let Tega give you a boost. Things to listen to. There are many podcasts that study the power of positivity. Here are 4 suggestions that I found, but a quick Google search will bring up many more. Happier with Gretchen Rubin. Gretchen is a happiness expert who has written multiple New York Times bestselling books and helps listeners understand how to make their lives better through habits and the power of positive thinking. I have to add that GretchenRubin.com is another great resource. The Stay Grounded podcast with Raj Jana brings on people from all walks of life to discuss happiness, success, fulfillment, and ways to infuse it all harmoniously into daily life. Jess Lively of The Lively Show helps people lead more joyful lives through direct inner voice work. And The Happiness Lab features Dr. Laurie Santos as she explores the science behind true happiness. The good thing about podcasts is that you can listen on the go. Maybe you need a little infusion of positivity while you are on your way to work or at work or while you are on a walk or doing chores. Podcasts are accessible and it's relatively easy to multitask while listening. Things to read. Again, there are hundreds of books related to this topic, and so the first one I chose has affected me personally, and then I've highlighted two others that are considered seminal in this realm. The Gifts of Imperfection. Brené Brown is a shame researcher, and this book is about how to let go of that shame to embrace who you are in all of your imperfect glory. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Originally published in 1986, this book has seen over 45 printings in its 30-plus years. Written by Shad Helmstetter, it walks through how positive self-talk can unlock your true potential. You Can Heal Your Life. Written by one of the widely recognized founders of the self-help movement, Louise Hay explains in this book how negative self-talk can actually lead to illness and how shifting your thoughts can benefit you not only mentally, but physically as well. Here is another fun video. My friend Jessica has got the right idea. This presentation is just the tip of the iceberg on how to recognize negative self-talk and start to change the conversation around it. Remember, positive self-talk is the definition of self-care. So take care of yourself. And in the words of the great RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love anybody else? I hope you found this presentation informative and helpful. Thank you very much.